Hi, Brian. This is Grant. I had a chance to speak with Paula this afternoon regarding the EC talent and on-prem ERP models. I think the best thing is to maybe just go through this through a video would be the best way to communicate things to you. So basically, on the first slide here, I don't have any comments. It's makes sense to me. On this slide, I guess I do have some questions. First of all, one thing I might want to mention here is that this might be a good candidate to be an animated screen. Maybe, for example, you can start with Employee Central as the heart of the solution. Then you can lay the Talent Solutions Cloud on. Then you can go in and start laying each of the different pieces in there as you go around. One thing I think would be very useful here is to actually order these processes in a way that shows the employee lifecycle, where we basically go from onboarding to recruiting to PMGM to learning to succession to workforce analytics. Go through the whole cycle in order so that it makes sense in terms of the hire to fire or such process. I think that would be important. Since we're doing so well with potentially creating a relationship with SuccessFactors around JDMS, perhaps JDMS should be part of this picture as well. I mean, I know it's not a part of SuccessFactors, but it is part of our solution. It's going to be integrated with SuccessFactors, and it's great for the underlying job content management. So it might be a nice piece to add in there. Another thing here is I could see using a bit more color. It's a little kind of drab, so no offense, but it's just kind of gray and blue. It's maybe you could punch out a few things with some color. I do have some issues with this concept of the push sync and the direct. Yeah, I guess the direct connections are good. Maybe I don't have a problem with this. I'll talk about this some more on an ensuing slide. On this one, again, I would prefer to see it go from basically onboarding, recruiting, PMGM, learning, succession, workforce analytics. I think it would be important to have those in order here so it makes sense. It's also a lot to look at. Perhaps this would be another slide that could be animated where each animation adds some arrows to the picture, or maybe like the stock tickers that you have. You see them on the trading floor where it's just a one line of stock tickers and they all just kind of move along from right to left with the numbers. We can have this kind of scroll in and we can stop it at certain times, or just have one set of processes on here at a time. I think there's some things that are missing here, like onboarding's not on here. PMGM, is it on here? No, PMGM isn't on here. It should be. And on this one, the preferred performance down here, you might want to just say performance and goals to capture it. I'll skip over this one. On this slide, one last thing on this slide. Sorry to jump around, Brian. Paula suggested it might be better having the Employee Central piece on top and the SuccessFactors down on bottom, since we're kind of highlighting how SuccessFactors Employee Central is the core of the system. And you also notice over here, it doesn't look good having these words split over two lines. On compensation, I guess, first of all, I don't really identify with this slide in terms of how I understand compensation to work. There's basically sort of 6 separate classes of compensation data that flow back and forth between EC and compensation. There's the personal employee data, which is like the job info, foundational object, the employment info, and the personal info, foundational object. Then there's also the compensation type objects like comp info, pay component recurring, and pay component non-recurring. The employee information automatically is pulled through, and it might be true that it's defined in the XML, but that's just how our system works. That's not really it's not really in my mind an integration point. It's just part of the integrated system. And also with this information, it is true that you need to pull it in, and once you complete the performance forms, there's a button you have to push to actually publish it back here. So that is true. I agree with that. So let's transfer that over to the picture on this page. I would argue that this middle section, the integration method, shouldn't even be a silo in here. If I was a client and I thought I was getting an integrated system and I have this integration method in between, I'm going to think this is an integrated system. I shouldn't have an integration method. It should already be integrated. So really, the compensation data that is in the system, this arrow should just go straight over to here. So it should be a automatic process that takes everything over into the compensation module to an automatic process. Then you go through the compensation process, you approve the compensation plan, and that is true that there would be a manual step of pressing a button to replicate or update the compensation foundational objects in EC on this side. So what I'm saying is I highly recommend that we get rid of this integration method piece and just show that it's an integrated system. And if needed, we can refer back to these 6 different sort of content types in EC in terms of how they connect with components within comp. So I think that is about it. I also will put together a slide like this for goals and for performance. So I hope that's enough to help you a little bit and get you going. And I'm happy to speak about this with you some more. Thanks and take care.